Hello everyone and welcome back to One Soccer. I'm your host for today, Josh Deming, and we are back with another episode of our Canadians Abroad series. This week we are going to take a look at some big transfer stories, Jonathan David continuing his great goal scoring form, and of course David Wotherspoon returning from his long-term ACL injury. Plus a lot more in our Canadians Abroad this week, so hopefully you guys are all excited, and if you are, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop us up, and let's get into the episode now. We are going to start off this week's Canadians Abroad episode with Alphonso Davies, who after suffering a skull bruise against Borussia Dortmund, missed Bayern Munich's 4-2 win over Vitoria Pilsen in the Champions League, but he was quickly able to return to action as he started over the weekend playing all 90 minutes as a left back in a 4-2-3-1 system. In the match, Davies had 94 touches, he completed 93% of his passes, he had 10 recoveries, 1 shot, created 2 chances, and he was involved in the opening goal of the match. Davies put in a really good ball where the Freiburg keeper made a good save, however the rebound fell kindly for Gnabry to head home. Davies also had an incredible tackle in the match, tracking back at full speed to cleverly knock the Freiburg attacker off the ball, winning possession back without taking the foul, and showing why his defensive game continues to grow. Bayern went on to pick up a big 5-0 win over Freiburg to sit second place in the table with a 5-4-1 record. Canadians can breathe a sigh of relief as Alphonso Davies looked like he hasn't missed a beat returning to action. There's also some massive transfer news surrounding Alphonso Davies, as it's being reported that both Real Madrid and Barcelona are looking to sign the left back in the summer. They want to strengthen their left-hand side. Alphonso Davies looks to be the option there. Now imagine being 21 years old and having both Real Madrid and Barcelona looking to sign you. On top of that, you're already playing for Bayern Munich. Not a bad time, and I can't wait to see how this plays out for Alphonso Davies. Stopping on over in France now, we are checking in with Jonathan David, who over the weekend started and played all 90 minutes as a striker in a 4-2-3-1 system. In the match, David had 5 shots, 39 touches, he completed 79% of his passes, he missed 3 good opportunities to score, however he was still able to score 2 goals in this match. His first goal was a penalty where he coolly stepped up and put it down the middle of the net, sending the keeper the wrong way. His second goal came from a well-timed run to sneak in beyond the defenders to tap home a perfect cross from Timothy Weah. David has now scored in 4 matches in a row while bringing his total tally to 9 goals, tied with Neymar for the most goals in Liga. Lille went on to win the match 3-0 against Strasbourg to sit 7th place in the table with a 6-1-4 record. David's form this season has been incredible and it looks like he's becoming a more consistent player. This has been a bit of an issue with him in his first 2 seasons at Lille. He would score a bunch of goals and then he would be cool for a while, but this season he looks like the complete package. Due to his great form, Jonathan David has some transfer news surrounding him as well. He's being linked to Chelsea, Everton, and Real Madrid. Now, Real Madrid, that one has me with some question marks around it because Benzema is still there. David has gone out and said that he wants to go to a club in Champions League football, so it kind of rules out Everton. But that does leave Chelsea. Graham Potter has mentioned that he's the type of striker he wants to prioritize for a January transfer. I'm very curious to see if this one will happen or if some other clubs could potentially come in for the high-scoring Canadian. This episode of Canadians Abroad is sponsored by the new Telesports app. This app provides Canadian soccer fans access to unique features, allowing them to choose in real time between up to 8 different camera angles across multiple devices from multiple viewers to offer the most immersive soccer viewing experience in the comfort of their home or on the go. Telesports is free and available for all Canadians. No signups required. Just download the app on mobile devices through Apple App Store and Google Play Store. Select Android TVs for telesubscribers on Optic TV and Pick TV, and web browsers by visiting telesports.ybvr.com. If you want to watch the CPL playoffs, including the final, download the Telesports app. Remember, it's available for all Canadians. You don't have to be a Telesubscriber, so enjoy the playoffs, Canada. Moving on over to Belgium now, we are checking in with Club Bruges, who midweek took on a match against Atletico Madrid where they drew 0-0. With that result, they qualified for the round of 16 after only 4 matches, sitting top of Group B with 10 points. Buchanan started the match against Atletico, playing 83 minutes, putting in a great shift as well. Over the weekend, Buchanan started and played all 90 minutes as a right wing-back in a 3-5-2 system. In the match, Buchanan had 47 touches, 3 recoveries, 2 shots, and completed 90% of his passes. Club Brugge went on to win 1-0 against Anderlecht to sit 3rd place in the table with an 8-1-3 record. Buchanan, after returning from injury, has already won his starting place back in Karl Hofken's best 11, playing important minutes both in the Champions League and in league play. Unfortunately, Milan Borjan is a completely different story as he didn't even make the matchday squad for the game against Anderlecht. It doesn't look like he's close to breaking into the starting 11. If this continues, you'd have to imagine that a January move could become possible. When Larin made the move over to Club Brugge, he wanted to prioritize Champions League football. But unfortunately for him right now, he's not playing in the Champions League, he's not even playing in the league, so he has to look at his options after the World Cup. Maybe a good World Cup run could give him a little bit of confidence that he needs, hopefully get some attention out there so he can make a move and start playing football again. Moving along now to the WSL, we are checking in with Chelsea, who lined up in a 3-4-1-2 system over the weekend, with Jessie Fleming starting as a center mid and Kadisha Buchanan starting as a central center back in a back three. Both players had strong performances, although Buchanan did score an own goal. However, in the end, it didn't impact the match, as Chelsea went on to win 3-1 to sit third place in the table with a 3-0-1 record. It's been a pretty solid start to the season so far for both Fleming and Buchanan. Both are looking to lock down a starting role with Chelsea, and I can't wait to see what they can do this season. Elsewhere in WSL action, Adriana Leon began the match on the bench and was substituted in on the 66th minute. She scored her first goal for Manchester United as she ran onto a through ball and coolly placed it in the bottom right-hand corner, helping her side pick up a 4-0 win over Brighton to sit first place in the table with a 3-0-0 record. It was fantastic to see Leon score her first goal for Manchester United. This United side looks like the real deal so far, and I can't wait to see what they can do this season. We are checking in with Ashley Lawrence, who started and played 90 minutes over the weekend as a winger in a 4-3-3 system. Lawrence had an impressive match playing in a more advanced role. She looked very comfortable doing so, picking up her second assist of the season with a beautiful left-footed cross, which was headed home to help PSG pick up a 3-1 win over Dijon to sit second place in the table with a 4-1-0 record. I really enjoyed watching Lawrence play a little bit higher up the pitch. I think she could definitely play a role there. I'm curious to see if this will be a permanent solution or if she will revert back to that right back, left back position. Regardless, I think it's a great experiment and I can't wait to see how it plays out. Our next stop is in Turkey, where we are checking in with Samuel Adekugbe, who began the match on the bench over the weekend and was substituted in for the second half as a left back in a 4-3-3 system. In the match, Adekugbe had 42 touches, he had 1 recovery, 2 clearances, completed 94% of his passes, and had 2 accurate long balls, as Hatayspor went on to lose 3-0 to sit 18th place in the table with a 2-1-6 record. Adekugbe hasn't started in 3 matches in a row, which is kind of concerning considering he started 34 matches last season and was one of the best fullbacks in the league. Hatayspor has had an awful start to their season, as their new manager Volkan Demirel seems not to favor Adekugbe at the moment, as he's been dropped ever since he's taken over. Adekugbe should be really starting for this Hatayspor side, but sometimes when a new manager comes in, he wants to shake things up, and unfortunately that saw Sam get dropped. The World Cup is coming up, so ideally Adekugbe could fight his way back into the starting 11, be in decent form leading up to the World Cup, but right now at least he was brought on at halftime. He looked pretty positive despite another poor result. We'll have to wait and see what it happens, but it's not smooth sailing right now for Adekugbe in Turkey. Moving along to England, we are now taking a look at Junior Hoilett, who was in action over the weekend. Hoilett started and played all 90 minutes as a right wing back in a 3-5-2 system. Hoilett created 3 chances, had 3 shots, 68 touches, and he had 4 recoveries. Reading went on to lose the match 2-0 against West Brom to sit 6th place in the table with a 7-1-6 record. Hoilett had a really strong match despite the result. If something was going to happen in that match for Reading, it looked like it was going to come through Hoilett. Hoilett has been in good form all season long, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen at the World Cup, whether he's going to play on the left-hand side, the right-hand side, potentially even as a midfielder. We know Canada's struggling with some midfield injuries. Maybe he shifts in there and plays as an attacking mid in a 3-man midfield. I'm not sure, but if he continues this form, he will definitely have a big impact to play for Canada in the upcoming World Cup. Our next stop is over in Portugal, where we are checking in with Steven Vitoria, who started over the weekend playing all 120 minutes as a center back in a 4-2-3-1 system in a third-round cup match. Vitoria scored the opening goal of the match as Chavez were heavy favorites to move on to the next round. That's the beautiful thing about the cup matches though, as they are unpredictable. Chavez conceded 2 goals late in the match in the 85th minute and the 92nd minute before leveling things up in the 94th minute. In extra time, they went down a man, which led to a penalty that knocked them out of the cup, losing 3-2 and completing the upset. This was not a great performance from Chavez, however it was great to see Steven Vitoria scoring a goal as well as lasting 120 minutes, showing that this man is still in good form right now and physically fit. Heading on over to Serbia now, we are checking in with Milan Borjan, who started in goal over the weekend, playing 90 minutes and picking up a clean sheet as Red Star went on to win 1-0 against FK Renički to sit first place in the table with an 11-2-0 record. Red Star's Europa League journey looks to be in danger after losing 2-1 against Ferencvaros midweek, and they sit last place in their group on 3 points and still have 2 tricky matches remaining against Trabzonspor and Monaco. This is a very talented Red Star side, and there were some expectations that this team could make it out of the group, or at bare minimum finish 3rd, which would give them Europa Conference League action. They're in a little bit of a hole right now, but there's a good opportunity that they could hopefully pull it off and be playing knockout football soon. Stopping on over in Greece now, we are checking in with Derek Cornelius, who started over the weekend playing 90 minutes as a center back in a 4-3-1-2 system. In the match, Cornelius completed 75% of his passes. He had 4 clearances, 2 recoveries, and had 57 touches as he went on to help his side to keep a clean sheet. Panathinaikos went on to draw the match 0-0 to sit 7th place in the table with a 3-2-3 record. It was another solid performance for Derek Cornelius as he's become one of the most important players for Panathinaikos, playing every single minute so far this season. The battle between Derek Cornelius and Scott Kennedy is very intriguing for me. I think Kamal Miller has kind of locked down that starting role already, but I think there's a chance that one of them can maybe get a start in the World Cup or at least having some significant minutes coming off the bench. Both of them are playing well right now, so I can't wait to see how the rest of the season will go leading up to the World Cup. Moving along now to Germany, we are checking in with Scott Kennedy, who was in action over the weekend. Kennedy started and played all 90 minutes as a center back in a 4-2-3-1 system. In the match, Kennedy had 41 touches, 12 clearances, 8 recoveries, and he had 3 successful long balls, looking very comfortable playing out of the back in this match. Jan Regensburg went on to win the match 3-0 to sit 10th place in the table with a 4-3-5 record. Kennedy had a slow start to the season, but it's been fantastic to watch him fight his way back into the starting 11 to become a very important player for his side. I was a little worried for Kennedy at the beginning of the season. It didn't look like he was going to be a starter, but he's fought his way back in. He's on great form right now, and I can't wait to see how the battle will play out with Derek Cornelius and Kamal Miller, as all three are on good form and looking to fight for a starting role. Stopping on over in Scotland, we are checking in with Theo Bair, who started over the weekend. Bair played 66 minutes as a striker in a 3-5-2 system. He had a very quiet night, struggling to impact the match. He's only managed to score 1 goal and pick up 1 assist in 10 matches so far this season. He wasn't the only Canadian to feature in this match for St. Johnstone, as David Wotherspoon played his first match in 11 months after tearing his ACL. Wotherspoon was subbed in the 82nd minute as St. Johnstone were looking to level things up late in the match. They couldn't find the goal and ended up losing 1-0 to Livingston to sit 9th place in the table with a 3-1-7 record. This is a big boost for Canada. I mentioned that their midfield has been hit with injuries recently. I mentioned even a player like Junior Hoilett may have to come in the midfield. Well, a fully fit David Wotherspoon is available for John Herman. It will give him huge headaches when trying to pick this final squad to go to Qatar. Wotherspoon is a good player. He's been with this national team for a while, and if he's fully fit, he should be there. The big question mark is the fact that he's just returning from injury. Is it enough time to get fully fit and capable to go to this World Cup? I'm not 100% sure, but this is the first step, and it's great to see him back playing. Moving along to the Netherlands now, we are checking in on Charles-Andreas Brym, who started over the weekend and played 90 minutes as a right attacking mid in a 3-4-2-1 system. In the match, Brym had 57 touches, 5 recoveries, he had 5 successful dribbles, 2 shots, he scored from both of his shots he took, and he was the player of the match. FC Eindhoven went on to win the match 2-1 and they now sit 3rd place in the table with a 6-4-1 record. This was Brym's best performance since returning to Eindhoven. He has looked good so far this season, however he was missing that final end product, so it's great to see him score his first 2 goals of the season. This is what good players need to do to restore that belief, score some goals. Brym did that. I can't wait to see if this can jumpstart his season a little bit, because we know that he can be a deadly player in this league, and getting his first 2 goals of the season should definitely give him that spark that is needed. Our next stop is Major League Soccer, where we are checking in with Dayne St. Clair, who started in goal for Minnesota United in a 4-2-3-1 system, making 8 saves, having 50 touches, 18 recoveries, and faced an XG of 3.35, only allowing 1 goal as Minnesota went the distance with FC Dallas. It finished 1-1 after 120 minutes, and Dallas won 5-4 on penalties, hugely disappointing for Minnesota as they were leading at one point in the match. Dayne St. Clair's season comes to an end, but I think it's fair to say that this was a true breakout season for him. He was one of the best keepers in Major League Soccer all season long. Unfortunately, in playoffs, it didn't quite work getting scored on all 5 penalty kicks that he faced, but it's penalties. He can only do so much, but I think this season will give him confidence. Going to the World Cup will give him confidence, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store for this talented young keeper. Elsewhere in MLS playoff action, we saw Raheem Edwards start for LA Galaxy, playing all 90 minutes as a left back in a 4-3-3 system. In the match, Edwards completed 83% of his passes, he had 68 touches, 3 successful dribbles, he had 7 recoveries, and 3 clearances as the Galaxy won their first round playoff match 1-0 against Nashville, booking a quarterfinal date with LAFC on October 20th. On the flip side of that result, Jacob Schaffelberg began the match on the bench for Nashville and was substituted in on the 69th minute. He wasn't able to help find the equalizer as Nashville and Schaffelberg's season comes to an end. Raheem Edwards is gunning for one of those final World Cup places. He will have the opportunity to impress John Herman once again. It's a big quarterfinal matchup, LAFC versus LA Galaxy. Edwards is expected to start, and this could be one of his last opportunities to impress Herman before the World Cup begins. Moving along now to NWSL playoff action, we are checking in with Kailen Sheridan, who started in goal for San Diego Wave in a 3-5-2 system. She made 5 saves in the match, had 68 touches, 11 recoveries, and did make a mistake that led to the goal for Chicago, although in the end it did not matter, as after extra time, KC went on to win the match 2-1 against the Chicago Red Stars to line up a semifinal match against the Portland Thorns on October 23rd. That will be an incredible semifinal matchup, and it means that at least one Canadian from those two clubs will be going to the final, as Sheridan will be looking to shut down both Sinclair and Becky. Elsewhere in NWSL playoff action, we saw Houston line up in a 4-3-3 system with Sophia Schmidt starting as a center mid and Nichelle Prince starting at left wing. Prince and Schmidt both played the entire match, and Schmidt scored a beautiful goal and was the player of the match, having a really strong game once again in the heart of the midfield. Unfortunately for Houston, they went on to lose the match 2-1 against KC Current, as their season comes to an end, getting eliminated in the first round of playoffs. This was a really disappointing end of the season for Houston. It was exciting seeing 3 talented Canadians playing on this side. They all had a great season, and I can't wait to see what they can do next campaign. That is all the time we have for in this edition of Canadians Abroad. I hope you all enjoyed it, and if you did, as always, be sure to drop a like, drop a sub as well. Also be sure to subscribe over to One Soccer for all the best Canadian soccer coverage. My name is Josh Deming. Thank you all for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Cheers, friends.